Hello and welcome to a Redstone showcase / tutorial. Today, we are going to be taking a look at my Redstone multi-story slime block elevator. Now, this is actually surprisingly simple to build, and I designed it for a multiplayer server on Minecraft Java Vanilla, and it can be up to 16 stories tall. And basically the way it works here, as you saw in the beginning, is there's a lectern here. You can select what floor you want to go to, press the button, hop inside, and it'll take you to that floor. So in today's video, I'm going to both explain how this works and provide a bit of a tutorial in terms of how to actually build this elevator. So if you're looking for just the tutorial and you don't care how it works, feel free to use the timestamps in the description to skip around a little bit. But if you're building this, I highly recommend learning how it works first, so that way you can understand what's going on if it breaks. So without further ado, let's get started. So to understand how this elevator works, we're going to start with the elevator itself. This is the slime block flying machine module that's actually used to propel the elevator up and down, and you can actually see it right in here. There's a little piece on top and a little piece on bottom, but this is the basic mechanism. So once you update this observer here, it'll go up as high as it possibly can. It'll just keep flying up if you don't stop it, and then when you update this one, it'll go back down. Now, what we're doing in order to get it to stop on each floor is we're adding in a pushable block in line with the non-pushable blocks of the wall of the elevator, so that when the slime block actually hits this pushable block, it thinks, okay, I need to push this, but then since there's a non-pushable block here, it can't, and therefore the elevator will stop. And now this cannot move in either direction until you retract this, and then you can send it back down. The next principle we're using is the sneaky wall-based vertical instant wire. And this vertical instant wire works from the top down, so you can only send a signal downwards using this, but as soon as this wall gets a solid block next to it, it will connect to that block, and then that will send a signal down. It'll basically convert all of these walls into the pillar form, updating this observer, and here it's going to ring this bell. And you hear that. So this is what we actually use on each floor to send a signal down to the elevator to send it up. So essentially the setup we have is this, where when we send this signal down, it updates that observer, sending the flying machine up. Now this is very cool because this cobblestone wall actually also serves as a decorative feature on the backside. Now the next principle we're using is a different kind of vertical instant wire. This one works from the bottom up. And so this is a bubble stream based instant wire. And this is just a regular observer tower. So essentially the way we're sending a signal from the bottom up to a specific floor is by timing the signals through these two wires. As you can see, this one here sends a signal up slowly to each lamp one at a time, and this one sends the signal up to all three lamps at once. So essentially what we can do is, if we time this properly, we can send this signal up, and then once it gets to the lamp that we want, we can turn this signal on and then have an AND gate that requires both signals be on in order to send the elevator up to that floor. So on each floor, what we're doing is bringing the elevator up to a specific point, and then we want to wait a certain amount of time and then send it back down automatically. So the way we're doing this is with an RS NOR latch. So this little red circuit here is an RS NOR latch. Basically what that means is that when you turn on this side, it swaps, and when you turn on this side, it swaps back. So we are then controlling this RS NOR latch with a very simple hopper timer that cuts off the circuit whenever we want it to. So basically, you press this button here, this hopper then starts emptying out. And once this hopper is empty, it's going to light this torch, which therefore turns on this side and turns off this lamp. So you can see, you press it, and we get a certain amount of delay, which is very precisely controllable by how many items we have in that hopper. The final principle that this elevator uses is the lectern red coder combo. So basically, this is a pretty tried and true mechanism here. This is known as a red coder, and the lectern outputs a certain signal strength based on what page it's on, and that selects the item that you want in the red coder. So if we come and look at this over here, we have the red coder down below the floor. This goes into an observer timing circuit, which basically just wraps the signal around however many times it needs to through these observers. So if you go to the first floor, or the second floor rather, this will now send the signal through just this coil of observers and into the bubble stream. But if we flip this over a few floors, it will now send this signal through this coil of observers all the way down there. So that's how we add delay based on what floor we select to the bubble stream. Then over here we have our two vertical wires. This is our bubble stream and this is our observer tower. And the observer tower is triggered at the same time no matter what floor you send it to. And the bubble stream is given a certain amount of delay based on this observer coil. Once the signal makes it up to here, we have our red RS NOR latch here. So this is essentially the same mechanism. It's just arranged slightly differently. So this is a very simple arrangement of the RS NOR latch. Over here, we have torch number 1 of our RS NOR latch right there. And torch number 2 is actually down below on this target block. So as you can see, that's powering that block, which is powering that torch, which would power the line above. So it works just like an RS NOR latch. This is the cutoff line, and this is the primary line. You can actually see from over here that this button on each floor directly powers this RS NOR latch. So basically, when you're on a floor, you can call the elevator to your floor just by pressing this, and it uses the same amount of delay, just sends it up, and then you can get in and it'll go down. Then we have our hopper timer right here, which has a certain number of items in it, and then as soon as you power this, it will start emptying this hopper here, which will in turn power this torch and power the cutoff, sending the elevator back down. If you look at this from the backside, you can see this piston right here pulls a glass block out, which triggers this vertical instant wire, as well as triggering the observer as soon as you're ready to send it back down. So this function and this function are all done by a single piston. And the final piece of the puzzle is this piston right here, which is triggered by this red part of the RS NOR latch, and it serves as the elevator stopper. The last little bit I didn't talk about is this purple circuit on each floor, which essentially serves two functions. It serves as the AND gate for the bubble stream and the observer tower. So the bubble stream sends up a block here, which when that block is there, the observer tower can send a signal through. But it also serves as a blocker so that only one floor at a time can be triggered. So one issue that I have is that the bubble stream can't be powered twice in a row quite fast enough. So basically this piston and this piston and this piston will all get pushed up, and the signal will be allowed through. However, we only want to send the elevator to one floor. So you can actually kind of see this when I trigger the elevator to go to, say, floor 2. you'll see that multiple lamps light up. See, 3 lamps there light up. But we only want to send the elevator to the bottom one. So the purple circuit strategically powers the RS NOR latch cutoff on the next floor up, so that that floor cannot be triggered at the time. So only the bottom floor that gets a signal will be triggered. So let's build this puppy, shall we? First, you're going to want to get started on your ground floor by figuring out where you want this entrance to go. So we're going to go 4 blocks wide with the obsidian and 2 blocks back, like so. And then we're going to pillar up 6 blocks up to the next floor. So there'll be 6 blocks, and then the next C shape can be constructed. Now on the second floor, we're going to put 5 blocks between the floors. So the ground floor is slightly taller, 1 block taller than any of the other floors. Now you can actually tweak the floor height slightly, but it's going to take, you're going to have to tweak some of the delays, and it's going to take a little bit of troubleshooting on your part. So I've just designed this to work with 5 block high floors, or technically 6 if you include the floor itself, and then a 7 block or 6 block ground floor. And then underneath, we're going to want to add 5 more blocks plus this floor. So that's going to give us space for our elevator. Next, you're going to want to pick a material that you like. I've been using blackstone because it looks good with the obsidian, and we're going to build up on this elevator shaft. And then we're going to place a couple of those blocks here, and we're going to place an observer here and here. Up next, we're going to grab our slime blocks, place them like this, and then we're going to grab a sticky piston facing up right there and facing down right here. And then we're going to place 3 more slime blocks on top of each of those. Now we're going to grab some wool and some carpet. You can pick whatever color you want, but I like red. And we're going to place it just like that. And then you're going to want to place a piece of obsidian right here temporarily so that you don't accidentally launch your elevator up. Next, we're going to grab our pillar material and go up here and up here. And we're going to place our walls in the middle here. And then we're going to take our observer, place it right there. And we're going to have 3 observers here and 1 more right there. So that should now be launchable. Now we're going to continue all of the blocks up to the second floor so that we can work on our calling mechanism. So on the second floor, from this little bit here, we're going to go 2 blocks away and then add our pillar here. So there's going to be obsidian, block, pillar. And this is going to go up, and we're going to place a button here, just like so. We can also continue this pillar down. So just below the button here, we're going to place a red block here, and then we're going to go out 1, and then we're going to go 2 this way and 1 this way. And that is going to be our part of our RS NOR latch. So that's going to go there. We're going to go down a couple of blocks like that. And we're going to place a torch right here. Some blocks there. A target block here. And a torch on the side of that. And that is the working RS NOR latch. Now we are going to place in our stopper, which is we're going to break this obsidian here and place a piston like that. And then we're going to place a pushable block right here. Up next, we're going to break these blocks here, jump over, and place a piston. And we're going to place a sticky piston right here. And we can put these back. So now, all we need to do is place in the glass on the back side of the elevator here. Now this elevator is specifically designed to have this glass back, so you can put this on the outside of a building here, and you can see the view as you go up. And there we go. Once you got that glass in there, this should now function as a single-story elevator. So we're going to break that obsidian, and we're going to move it up here just for safety purposes. But if you press this button, it should now call the elevator up. And if we put another button down in here temporarily, that should send the elevator back down. Pretty cool, right? So now we need to add in the hopper timer that allows us to automatically trigger that boy. So we're going to place a block right there, and a block right there, and a block right there. And that's pretty much it. We're going to put a torch here, and a comparator here, and then two hoppers facing into each other right here. Now we need to grab some blocks. For the first floor, I've been using 22 blocks. So go ahead and put 22 blocks in there, and we're going to place a torch right there. So now, this should be even more functional. So if you press the button, it'll bring the elevator up. It'll wait a couple of seconds, and then it should go back down. So if you're building a 2-story elevator, you're done. All you need to do is add a button down here, bloop, that powers this line right here. So if you can make this button power this, then your elevator that goes up and down is absolutely done. And this can be as high as you want. But yeah, this mechanism right here works as a single-story elevator very nicely, honestly. But you're not here to build a single-story elevator. You want to build the big boy. So that is what we will do. That means it's time to get serious. So we're going to place our lectern down right next to this pillar. And then we can get started on our blue circuit. So we're going to place a block right behind the lectern. So now we need to get the comparator's output of this lectern here. So that's what this does. And then we need to step this down quite a bit. So in order to do that, we're going to do this kind of wacky, wiggly comparator. And then into this. And then we're going to go down again. Boop. And then from here, we're going to place 2 blocks and 2 comparators. And that is going to be the start of our red coder right here. So we're going to go down a block, up a block, and we're going to place some redstone. Now this first little slice goes like so, and then we're going to continue these out and continue our redstone as well, and then we're going to place some repeaters over here and some blocks along here. And then the last step with the red coder is to place some torches on the bottom here. And that should be a working red coder. So next we're going to want to grab a book and quill. Take this to page 15 and add a space. And then don't sign the book yet. You're going to want to be able to edit this later on, so you can put a description of what's on each floor or whatever you want here. But you just need this to be 15 pages. But now, if we flip that to page 3, you'll see it selects the third piece of the red coder. So I'm just going to build 4 slices here, If you're building more than a 4-story elevator, you basically just repeat this. You just keep going, and you can go up to 15, basically. So I'm going to place a sticky piston right here, and this is going to be the start of our orange circuit. So we're going to place some orange blocks up against these, and then we're going to run a line of target blocks along underneath this with a torch on each of these. And then we're going to have our control wire back here that actually runs into these boys. So if we come back behind here, we're going to place a downwards facing piston right behind the button. And then we're going to place a redstone block underneath it. Now we're going to go down a block and over to the side, and then we're going to place some redstone on this block and a torch on the side. Then we're going to go down here, and we're going to pick up that signal. We're then going to pull this, stair step it down a couple, and then we're going to add a repeater here. And then as a slight pulse extender, we're going to add a target block here, and then blocks in this formation with a repeater at 4 ticks and a repeater at 3 ticks. So now when we press this button, you'll see these torches will turn on for just a second. Just a little quick blip. And that's exactly what we want. Next we're gonna grab some note blocks and place them in a row like this. And then we're gonna place some blocks above and below them. We're going to place 2 observers on each of these, and then we're basically going to make a repeating pattern starting on the second one that goes this way. So you'll see here, we're going to place some blocks here, and we're basically going to repeat between this one and this one. So if you build another slice, it's going to look like this one here, and so on. So for these, we're going to place observers on top, to the side, facing this way, and then another note block and another observer. So that wraps the signal from this note block around to the next one. And then this one, the signal is going to go below. So we're actually going to put a observer here, here, and here. So this will repeat on the way down, and this repeats on the top. So essentially what you end up with is something that looks like this. Now you might be wondering, when you get to floor number 14 here, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th one, why is there not a note block here? Well, that's because there's some weird timing thing that I don't really understand that's going on, but I was able to fix it by just replacing these 2 note blocks with observers. So if you're building a 14 floor elevator, keep that in mind. If you're not building that high, you don't have to worry about that. And then the underside should end up looking like this. So now we need to connect these up to our vertical wires. So we're going to start by getting a observer output from this note block here. And then we're going to place 4 observers right here. And these are going to face into a dispenser. Up next, we're going to go ahead and build our water elevator. So you're going to place some soul sand right there, and then we're going to place some glass around it, and then we're going to build this up. And on the inside, we're going to fill this with water. Every single block needs to be a source block, and this is easiest to do in survival mode by stacking up ice and then breaking it. And then we're going to pillar this up to this hopper right here. And we're going to place an observer right here next to this block. And then we're going to build up 1 more. And from there, we can go ahead and fill up the rest of this column with water. We also need to put a bucket in this dispenser. You're also going to want to place a block on top of this note block down here. Now to finish off the orange circuit, we're going to place some blocks like this. And then we're going to have a 4-tick repeater here, a 4-tick repeater here, place some dust right there, And then we're going to put a sticky piston facing up right here with an observer on top. Skip a block, place a block here, and then we're going to put some redstone dust on top. And from there, we can build our way up with the observers. We're going to go up 2 blocks above this torch and put one right there. So up next, we're going to build the purple circuit. So in order to do that, we need a sticky piston facing up right here, a block on top of it, a note block right here with a block on top of it, and an observer right there. Up next, we're going to put a block right here and a block right here with a repeater set to 4 ticks. And now it should be fully functional. Would you look at that? So now with one floor complete, we can go ahead and look at the process of adding another floor. So we're going to start out by building up another 5 blocks. And then on top of that, we're going to build another one of these C shapes. This glass just symbolizes our floor plane here. And then we're going to bring this column up. So adding a floor should be pretty easy if you ended up with your previous floor. All you need to do is add your button and just repeat this circuitry. So we're going to start with our red, build that 4 wide piece there, add our sticky piston here, movable block, and remove the obsidian here, build our walls up. Now, instead of just building this immediately up, we're going to leave a bit of a gap here so that we don't accidentally trigger the floor below us. And then we're going to come down here, 2 blocks below, with our blocks right there. Add these in, place a torch, and get our target block in with the torch right there. Up next is our green circuit, which is our hopper timer. So these 3 blocks here are hoppers. Placing in that guy. Now, each floor should have 7 more items than the previous floor. So this one has 22, so the next one should have 29, like so. And once we've got our items in, we can go ahead and add our torch here. Then we need to add our sticky piston on level with this red block here. And then we can bring our glass up. And as soon as we have that sticky piston in, we can actually connect this up. Next, we need to bring up our control wires. Again, in line with this hopper. Don't forget to add water. I'm going to place an observer here and a sticky piston here. With our purple circuit running right here. Repeater on 4 ticks, and we need to bring our observers up to there, add in a note block and a block on top of it with another observer right there. Now, at this point, we have one more thing to do on the previous floor, so we're going to have to add in our cutoff circuit for this floor. Slab right here below this piston, a block right there, block right there. And then we're going to put a torch, a repeater on 4 ticks, a redstone dust, a block right here, and another torch right there. And we should now have 3 working floors on our elevator. So if we turn this over to page 2, which correlates with floor 3, press the button, and it should pull out that glass right there. Oh, and we've left our obsidian in place. Continuing. Oh, I've made a mistake. So obsidian is out of the way. We should now be ready to send our elevator up to floor 3. And there it is. Just keep in mind, if you add another floor, you have to have a corresponding row in the orange and blue circuit down here. So if I'm going to add a 5th floor to this one, I'm going to have to add another slice to this circuit down here. And a couple more bells and whistles you can add. If you want, you can put a note block right here, which is powered by this cutoff, so that you basically have a note block when the elevator goes back down. So, for example, pull the elevator up to the second floor, and then when it's about to go back down, you get a chime. You can also add a lamp in the wall right here, so that you can see when the floor is actually triggered by the bottom. So, for example, here, you'll see a light come on up there for just a split second before the elevator comes up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, and let me know if you end up building this in your own survival world. I know it's a little resource intensive, but I thoroughly believe that you can do it, and I would like to hear about it. So let me know down in the comments below if you end up building this yourself. I have been Surface Fusion. Thank you so much for watching, and if you need me, I will be downstairs.